June 29th, Heroic Hollywood broke the scoop that Sony were shutting down production of the long in gestation and even longer in development hell, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe reboot, citing budget and script concerns. Within hours though, that report was taken down after comicbook.com posted a rebuttal, citing a source telling them that the film is currently on track for its March 2021 release date and that there is no truth to the rumor. So what is really going on here? Were Heroic Hollywood just flat out wrong? Is everything sunshine and rainbows behind the scenes, like comicbook.com claims? I have no inside sources here, but I do have some informed speculation on the matter, as the rumors in part sound plausible, and those plausible parts, the budget and script concerns, weren't debunked. In this editorial, I will examine both the initial claims and the rebuttal, explore what wasn't refuted, and cross-reference it with other comparable movies overseen by Sony head honcho Tom Rothman. First of all, I am inclined to believe the truth lies somewhere in between the Heroic Hollywood scoop claiming production was shut down and the comicbook.com rebuttal, which came very quickly, claiming everything is awesome. That Heroic Hollywood at the time of this recording has taken the article down, possibly pending an update, certainly lends credibility to the notion that everything indeed is awesome. However, I very much doubt that Heroic Hollywood made it up. They probably do have a tipster within the production, although that tipster may have been overzealous in his or her recounting of the situation. If we look at the original report, Heroic Hollywood said that Sony has temporarily shut down the development of Masters of the Universe, citing issues with the script and budget of the film. They go on to insist it's only temporary given the amount of resources Sony has invested in reviving Mattel's dormant toy property. They also cite another source who says creating the Kingdom of Eternia in live action is too expensive. So some retooling from the production crew is likely going to take place before the work restarts. The only thing there that sounds flat out wrong is that development has shut down, however temporarily. And that was indeed the primary focus of the rebuttal. Production is still in progress and the movie is still on track to be released on time. But Heroic Hollywood did stress that Sony had invested too much in the production to shut it down altogether, that the shutdown was only temporary, while script and budget issues were being addressed. The comicbook.com rebuttal didn't even reference the script and budget issues, merely stating that the film's development team is currently hammering out the look of the production, including costumes and design elements, while the cast undergoes training. This does in no way refute the part of the original report which said that the Kingdom of Eternia in live action is too expensive, so some retooling from the production crew is likely going to take place. Knowing how Sony operates, especially under the rule of Tom Rothman, that to me sounds plausible. Tom Rothman is the chairman of the Sony Pictures Motion Picture Group, and ever since his days of holding the same position at Fox, his MO on genre properties have always been the same: reduce risk by cutting financial exposure. That was his major contribution to the original X-Men back in 1999, cut the budget and production time. And he continued to do so on all genre movies to come, at least the ones he didn't outright block because he didn't get them, like Deadpool. It was nonetheless an approach that made him very successful as a producer, as his tight fiscal control meant that the movies made on his watch rarely caused any losses to speak of. However, his movies also catered to the lowest common denominator. They were bland and rarely did more than middling numbers at the box office either. And his allegedly unpleasant way of conducting himself caused many industry professionals to swear off ever working with him again. He was eventually fired from Fox, but Sony hired him, and after Amy Pascal was ousted, he replaced her. One of the first things he did as her replacement was cut the budget of Paul Feig's by then already in development Ghostbusters. The message was more or less, you now have 15 million less than you were originally promised, deal with it. Most recently, and as covered in my previous editorial, his major contribution to Men in Black International. Another project he inherited that was too big to shut down was reduce Sony's exposure by entering funding deals, which ultimately led to no one in the studio caring when the director and producer started fighting among themselves. So, as we've established, Sony, where day-to-day operations are run by Tom Rothman, are all about cost control, and this is especially true of projects that Rothman either doesn't really understand or that he has inherited and has to deal with. Masters of the Universe is both. Rothman's history with the franchise began in the early 2000s when it was set up at Fox under the direction of John Woo, in no small part thanks to Rothman's own notes. That incarnation of the movie was shaping up to be a franchise-ending disaster of epochal proportions, which he thankfully pulled the plug on before it ever could see the light of day. When he first came to power at Sony, another of the first things he did was send the then most current incarnation of the He-Man movie, the one Amy Pascal was reportedly about to greenlight, back to the drawing board. In the more recent past, new deals with Mattel were made, and the He-Man movie is no longer anything that can just be shut down. Whether Rothman is happy about it or not, it is an inherited project that he is stuck with, but one where he can still reduce risk in case of underperformance by cutting costs. As such, I would not be surprised in the slightest if that part of Heroic Hollywood scoop is true. Rothman deciding that Eternia cost too much, so redesign it to cost less. Or that, say, one scene will cost 10 million or something, so write it out, is very much so in line with his MO, and exactly what has happened behind the scenes of several Sony movies on his watch already. However, that does not mean production has been shut down. On the contrary, scaling initial designs and even script sequences down for budgetary reasons is par for the course during most productions, whether from Sony or anyone else. We just don't always hear about it. That, at least, is my take on the situation. What is yours, and how excited are you for the He-Man movie? Let me know in the comments.
Thanks for watching, and if you like this video, why not subscribe and click the bell icon for all the latest content? And be sure to check out our other videos. And if you really like the channel, why not consider supporting us on Patreon? Patreon supporters get all kinds of bonus exclusives, and you can support the channel for as little as $1 a month. You can also check out our sister channel, Midnight's Edge After Dark, for live streams, discussions, and more. Stay tuned because another video is coming right up.